Benjamin Franklin, and welcome to the Step Up America Foundation podcast. Join us every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we celebrate incredible Americans from all walks of life. You may hear from a NASA astronaut, a professional or amateur athlete, a musician, and of course, current and past military heroes, just to name a few. And who knows, you might even learn a thing or two along the way. Well, that's enough from me. Let me introduce you to our hosts, John McIntosh, Mark Renahan, and Adrian Garcia. Take it away, team!
And welcome to the Wednesday edition. I almost forgot which day it was because I'm so excited. So welcome to the Step Up America podcast. I am your host, John McIntosh. I got right hand man right next to me, Mr. Mark Renahan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Very, very big show today.
Yeah, it was cool. We did some classes with Ben on Monday.
We did. It was
fantastic.
fantastic.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. President's Day. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
No, very cool. And we also have Adrian. How are you, sir?
Doing good, John. Very excited for today's show. We have two very incredible guests today, so very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, so, I'm not going to lie, man. This is, I hope the first guest that we introduced doesn't take offense to this, but I am beyond ecstatic to introduce our second guest. But, Mark, do you want to introduce our first guest?
I will. We actually have one of our returning guests. He has been on 3 times, kindly enough. He is a fantastic man, and you may recognize him, John, as he is a retired Rear Admiral of the United States Navy, where he once held the command of the Eisenhower Battle Group. I'm a little nervous myself today. During the course of Operation Desert Shield. But what I actually am most impressed by him is he was the captain of the 1963 Navy team led by himself and Roger Starbuck, who beat Army that year in a fantastic game. I speak, of course, the one and only retired Rear Admiral Thomas Lynch. Rear Admiral, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Great to be with you guys again.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for joining us again. It's always an honor, and we're going to talk about your organization a little bit later. But I want to introduce the one and only Major League Hall of Famer, my childhood idol, the Iron Man, the one and only Cal Ripken Jr. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's our pleasure. So we're beyond excited to talk to you, Cal. Number one, because you can see I'm sporting my Orioles gear here. You might not know this, but my nephew happens to be riding Mountcastle. So that was a dream come true growing up in Northern Virginia. Being a huge Cal Ripken fan, my youngest daughter still wears number 8. All of my children wear 8. She's a fantastic volleyball player. So they all wear 8s. But when Ryan got drafted to the hometown team that I grew up watching you and Eddie Murray and everybody, what a dream come true. So he's probably tuning in. I think he's on his way to Sarasota today, they report. But I told him I would say hello from him to you. So.
Yeah, so my son is reporting today as well, or tomorrow. So he's going to be down there with the Orioles down there. They expanded a group of about 75 players, and he got the call a couple days ago that said he was going down. So he jumped in the car and went down. So I don't know if you know this, Admiral Lynch, but I've been working out Ryan at Navy at the ballpark down here in Annapolis. And,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I was able to sneak in the batting cages and get him some batting practice. And when the weather's right, we go out in the field. So I want to say thank you because Ryan's in fantastic shape. He's looking forward to going down there and getting started again.
No, I saw. Yeah, that's incredible. I saw his invite on a Masson article. So congratulations. That's got to be huge. Your dad.
Yeah, he's had a rough go of it. I mean, he got injured right away when he was first with the Nationals and then missed about a year and a half, which means there was a couple other drafts. And I think he lost his sort of opportunity in that organization. The Orioles took a chance on him, and he hit 285 last year in Double-A. And so he's a little older, but he's knocking on the door now.
No, how cool though. What an incredible family. I mean, you grew up at the ballpark with your father. Which is an incredible story. And I remember reading all kinds of information about you and how much your father meant to you, what a mentor he was, how you would show up at Memorial Park there when you were a youngster and hang out with the ball players. And and then later to have your father coach you. And then have your brother playing second base and turning double plays with him. I mean, come on, that's like the American dream right there, right?
It's one of those things that you don't know how great it is while you're going through it, but then when you don't have it again, you look back and go, man, that was amazing. My dad, in his career, he sat behind Earl Weaver and was waiting for an opportunity to manage. And then when Earl Weaver retired, they gave the job, or they sent the job to Joe Altobelli. And so my dad got passed over. By the time he got an opportunity, we were in a rebuilding sort of mode. So his dream of managing the Orioles, at least for any length of time, was kind of squelched. But the good part about that was Billy got called up in '87 when my dad was the manager. We played second base and shortstop combination for about 5 years together. It's really cool to have your brother you look over to and you think really the same way in baseball. And some of the harder double plays, you were able to turn because you knew each other so well. And it's really interesting. I played with Hall of Famer Robbie Alomar as a second baseman, and he might be the most talented second baseman I ever played with, because I would just look at him and he'd make certain plays where I had to be super ready how he got the ball to me. But, we didn't have the same exact connection, and who would, with your brother. I thought my brother Billy and I, we turned the toughest of double plays when you really needed to get a fast runner at first base and a fast runner coming into second base, and you're trying to hold a one-run lead in the eighth. Those kind of double plays you need to turn at the big league level, and I always felt that we were totally in sync.
Yeah, no, that is cool, and I admire your family, your entire family. It's just a cool story, and we'll get into the foundation that you're running now and how you're still giving back to kids, and just super cool what your family has accomplished. We got to talk about the streak, Cal. I'll never forget. I will never forget I actually went to the University of Maryland, and the day you tied the streak, we hopped on. There's a train that left College Park and went straight to Camden Yards. And we didn't have a ticket. We knew there was no way we could afford a ticket on, sitting in college. But we went and hung out and listened to the crowd, cheer, go nuts. And then the following day, Mark and I were just reminiscing. I can remember that day like it was yesterday. And I think so many Americans can just really relate to that magical moment when you broke Lou Gehrig's streak, because whether or not you were a baseball fan, it didn't matter, because it was all about your work ethic, and especially coming off that strike season, you're considered to have saved Major League Baseball at that point. And what an honor. I mean, so cool.
Well, if I can reminisce for a minute, if I can remember that far back, September 6, 1995 was 25 years ago this past September. And they had some pretty good plans to kind of bring that back, but COVID got in the way of the baseball season, got in the way of some of that. But we were still able to remember and kind of go back. And I think the reason it was really special was it allowed a lot of the people who were disenchanted with baseball. After '94, the strike was in August, I think August 12th, we went out on strike. Then the owners canceled the World Series. Then they locked us out of spring training. So when the business head shows its way like that penalizes the fans, they weren't too happy. So when we finally came back, it seemed like the streak was some of those things that people were looking to hold on to. They were looking for something that was good in baseball. And, as we went on, I think people looked back and said, okay, when it was a game, when Lou Gehrig, the likes of Lou Gehrig played, and it wasn't a big form of entertainment, it wasn't a big business. These were sportsmen. And I think people could relate to the fact that I showed up to play every single day, and people would tell me of their own individual streaks. So it was very relatable. And the way it turned out, there's no way someone could have planned it out any better or choreographed it any better for September 5th, September 6th. It just had its own flow. And I was able to perform well in those games, September 5, September 6. I hit a home run in each one of those games, and we won both of those games. And that was important to me, because you don't really celebrate an attendance record. You celebrate what happens because you show up and you're in the lineup and you want to help your team win and you want your teammates to count on you, which was really the whole purpose of that whole thing. So it was fun thinking back on all those moments, after 25 years. And in some cases, I would agree. It's like it just happened yesterday. But then in other cases, it seems like it might have been a different lifetime ago, looking back on it. But no doubt about it, it was special.
Yeah, no.
Oh, well, no, I was just going to say, you mentioned it's back in '95, and when John and I were talking earlier to our two partners here, one of them wasn't born yet, and the other one, I think, was about 1 year old, so they did not remember either of it. And I tried to explain to them both. I said, at that time, I assure you, Cal's record was the #1 thing going on in the country. We were all glued to our TVs. I mean, John and I are baseball fans, so that makes it a little more, but it was definitely a special time and an incredible feat to do. I myself have had a cup of coffee every day for about 7 years now. It's not as good as your streak, but I'm working on keeping that one going. So, but before I get going, we can't forget the fact that we have another athlete sitting right next to Cal, and that is a football player from Navy. And I didn't know, Admiral Lynch, if you wanted to just touch real quick on your 1963 Army-Navy game, because I know that was a famous game.
Oh, absolutely. I can talk all day on that. Of course, the Army-Navy game is the biggest game of the year. It's the one you really live for. It may determine whether or not you're going to have a successful season or not. And back in those days, we're talking about 61, 2, and 3 were my 3 years. Plebes didn't play. Freshmen didn't play back in those years. So I played in. And then and there was never, usually the biggest streak was 3 years up until that point in time because they're so well matched and closely coordinated. So we never really, but going into my senior year, our motto was Drive for 5. And that year was just a tremendous year. Roger was awarded the Heisman Trophy as the best football player in the country. And we knocked off Michigan up there, from West Virginia, Notre Dame at Notre Dame. So we had a pretty doggone good season, a great group of guys. And we went in the Army-Navy game, and Rollie Stitchway was their quarterback, and he's now a very good friend. In fact, Rollie and Roger are co-sponsors for the 20th anniversary of 9/11, the game that we played in New York City this year in the Meadowlands, and 20th anniversary of 9/11. And we've been talking about that in the last couple of weeks here. But going into that game was we were heavily favored, and it turned out it was 21-15. With about 2 or 3 minutes to go, they had the ball on the 40-yard line, got down to about the 1-foot line, and ran out of time. But not that they would have ever scored. But so we won that game, and then the president had been assassinated the week before, and 2 weeks before, and President John F. Kennedy. And initially, the game was canceled, and then a couple of days later, and we all understood that, our commander-in-chief, my goodness. But about a couple of days later, Thursday, the 22nd of November, 1963, when President Kennedy was assassinated, and then that Saturday, we got the word that Jackie, his widow, said the president would have wanted this game to be played. So it was delayed, and we played it the week later on the 7th of December, day of infamy, but we played on the 7th of December and beat Army, and we achieved our goal, Drive for 5. And then because Texas was #1 in the nation, we were #2, and the Cotton Bowl people were there and asked us if we'd come to Texas for the game, and we did, and we got beat by Texas pretty handily. But we were quite the same team, I'll say that, but because of the short period of time that we had to prepare, we were but anyhow, we lost that game, and we wound up #2 in the nation, and I put out emails every day, every week. We have those 55 guys. We're tight today as we were then, and it's one of the proudest achievements of my life to keep those guys together, because we had that brotherhood, that band of brothers, and we never wanted to lose that. I felt a responsibility as a captain, so I know where every guy is, wife, kids, the whole deal, and we stay very close to one another and get together at the Naval Academy every 5th year anniversary. So that's the team of 63.
That's an incredible story, Admiral. And you brought up the fact that you're still good friends with that entire team, and you guys still reminisce and hang out. And I'm sure, Cal, the friendships, the partnerships you made throughout the years in professional baseball have to be incredible. And there's always something special about being a team because you're part of something that's bigger than you. You know what I mean? And I think, in this day and age, we need to get back to that. People need to stop being so stinking selfish and become part of something bigger than themselves. So.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Ain't
also
that the truth?
it's great with both of these stories. That's something that many people might not recognize. Is that I remember when I was a kid, and if you want to ask me, one of the memories that I have that's seared in my head is when the U.S. Olympic hockey team won against the Russians.
Yeah.
But when you think of what we're just discussing now, like JFK was killed, and everyone rallied around the Army-Navy game, which back then it's still huge now, but back then might have been maybe a little bit bigger. When Cal was going for his streak, everyone rallied around that. It's sports are a great way to kind of get everybody going, and it's actually one of the reasons why I don't wear my Red Sox shirt out around here, because I got cornered in the grocery store and yelled at by people like whatever pitcher was on that day, they'd be like so and so. I'm like, huh? Oh, my Red Sox shirt is on. I forgot. So, but it's amazing how sports bring everyone together in a way, because you may not get along with everyone, and it's why I want to see sports get back to full blown. I know we're all from the pandemic, but once that's going, I'm hoping that maybe people will forget about the other things and be like, you know what, we both root for the Orioles, so and maybe that's all we need to move forward as a happy group.
Yeah, no, sports is always a good medium where we can come together and root for a common team other than the Red Sox.
Yeah, and I know you were a big badminton champion.
Yeah. Beer pong.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
There we go.
So, Cal, are you still involved with the Orioles organization now?
No, I mean, I own one of their affiliates, and so now it's the High A affiliate in Aberdeen, Maryland. We built a stadium out there, and so I have that relationship. But no, not really anything from a baseball standpoint. I've been reduced to selling tickets, sponsorships, food around the Orioles product. No, it's I've been busy. We have a youth business, my foundation that we started in my dad's name. Requires quite a bit of my time. It's grown to a national foundation where it's a $30 million foundation. We help 1.5 million kids a year. We're growing. We're building. We just passed our 100th field. We call them youth development parks. They cost about $1 million or $1.5 million per field. And so we just celebrated going past 100. So we've been doing some really good stuff, and I've enjoyed the freedom and the ability to go do that. There's been some times when I thought of coming back to baseball, or there's been some interest for having me come back to baseball. And in the analysis a couple of times, I'm thinking, okay, that's the daily grind. And what would I be giving up in my life now to do that? And so I don't know if that's passed me by or not. There still might be an opportunity. I always think I love to work at the highest level, and I've had a great deal of fun working with my son, getting him, prepared and ready for the next levels. And it starts to get your juices flowing again, is that you're working at that level. I mean, we have a kids business where tournaments come in, and we do clinics, and we work with the kids. But there's nothing like taking a really talented kid and making them better. And so I often wonder whether it's in the cards for me to come back to the big leagues or not. And obviously, if that was the case, I think the Orioles would be really the only team that I can't see myself ever putting another uniform on after all this time here. And I live here. It's it's where I'm from. So if there was something to happen with the Orioles, then that there might be a possibility, but it might be that my time was in those 21 years of playing.
No, that's I'll be rooting for you to come back. So we'll get your son to the big leagues, and then you're gonna have to do it. I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, you got to follow in your dad's footsteps.
And Cal, just remember, never say never to a Red Sox uniform. We could use you up there in one of those Red Sox uniforms. I'm just saying, never say never. You never know. It's a nice city up there. It's not like it's cold and snowy.
Can I give you a tribute or shout out for the Red Sox fans in a way? My last year was 2001. And as we know, 2001 was 9/11, and the season got interrupted towards the end of there, where baseball played a nice healing part of baseball when we came back. It was almost a welcome distraction, a show of unity for the whole world. But the season got pushed back a week. So in that time frame, I announced that I was going to retire in June. So when I was in the city for the last time, sometimes they would have a special ceremony or send-off. But I think one of the coolest ones was, and the Red Sox did something very nice, and I was at home plate. My kids got a chance to throw out the first pitch in Fenway. I think it was to Carlton Fisk and to Dewey Evans, I think. And so while we were on the field, then we started the game. We had a 4-game series in there. And without any prompting whatsoever, every time I came to bat for that 4-game series, everybody just stood up and started clapping. So they gave me a standing ovation in a sign of respect or really an appreciation that was very meaningful to me. So that was a very cool. Each and every time I came to bat, that happened, and it really. I mean, Boston's a baseball town. They're crazy baseball fans, and they love it. And sometimes they hate you, but they appreciate really well played games and good performances by players even on the other team. And so I was the recipient of a lot of that love. So I just want to share that with you.
Excellent. I assure you that there's a pack of some Fenway security from the 90s listening to that are very pleased right now, as are all the Boston fans. So I will tell you, Cal, that you were always a favorite of everyone to watch whenever you came into town. We definitely would be at work on time that night, and we'd definitely be a little bit more excited knowing that Cal Ripken Jr. is playing that night.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, and it's cool, and I love the fact, Cal, that you just said you don't see yourself ever putting on or donning another uniform other than the Orioles, and that's a lost characteristic in this day and age. How many professional athletes begin their career and end their career in the same place? So,
I mean, Tom Brady just left the Patriots and crushed all of us in New England. So,
That's okay.
Very true.
But, Cal, we're going to take, Admiral Lynch, we're going to take a short break and recognize 2 of our sponsors, one being New Day USA. And when we get back, Cal, I would love to talk a little bit about your foundation and how you got involved with New Day USA, if that's okay. Excellent.
Sure. Excellent.
We'll be right back after this break.
We believe at New Day USA, we have a noble purpose. We want to be known as America's mortgage company for veterans and active duty service people. Some of them are giving their lives right now, today, for the freedoms that we have here in this country. So for us, at New Day, to help those people at this point in time, it's a labor of love, it's a noble service, and that's what we're all about.
Are we allowed to talk in the break, Tom?
I guess so.
You're allowed to do. You're allowed
do whatever you want,
You're
the both of
allowed to
yous.
do whatever you want. So this is your show today. But the break's over. I'm sorry, Cal. But thank you to our sponsors, New Day USA and our American Dream Team from NASCAR. We appreciate both those organizations greatly. But Cal, you were.
I was just going to comment that Tom's a pretty snazzy dresser.
He is.
Thank
He
you.
is.
Very nice polo shirt, Admiral.
You like that? Thank you.
I was talking about the commercial.
Oh, he's even better in that. He's even better in that. Yes.
Well, I noticed.
You didn't
I
notice
noticed.
that?
I noticed the Admiral got up and left as soon as his commercial started playing. So I'm like, what's going on, Admiral?
He's seen it before.
I've seen it before, and I get a little emotional on that commercial anyhow. So I
right.
don't see myself cry on TV.
Well, it's a good
I
commercial.
hear ya.
It's a good commercial.
But
thank
come
you.
back with a little charging cable.
yeah. So Cal, you brought up the fact that you're heavily involved in the Cal Ripken Sr. Foundation that you named after your father. You actually built. We're here in Vero Beach, and you actually built a ballpark right here, and it is absolutely. I'm jealous because I didn't get to play on a field like that when I was a kid. But it is gorgeous. It's phenomenal. I know you kind of partnered with Jake Owen, I believe, down here in Vero Beach, and
Yeah, that's Jake has been a friend of the foundation, and
Oh, wow.
when you find like-minded people, you can use your influence in good ways. So we were really proud to do that field down there I don't know if we ultimately called it Jake Owen Field. He's a humble person, so we were fighting about that. But we might have got our way.
I hear you. So do you want to share a little bit about what exactly your foundation does and how it gives back and how you and your family continue to give back?
Yeah, I'll just give you a real quick, in the context, I lost my dad. He died 63 years old with lung cancer. So he was very young. And Brother Billy and I were trying to search for what's the meaning of Dad's life, what's the legacy of his life. And the legacy of his life was helping kids. And he did it professionally to help kids get to the big leagues, but he also used baseball to go out into whatever community was, get their attention. And he wasn't trying to find a big league player. He was trying to give them an influence, a positive sort of direction to go through sports. And he was very successful at doing that. So when we were trying to figure out what's the best way to bring tribute to his life, we started a foundation in that spirit, where we use baseball to get in front of kids, but we really want to match them with mentors, people that care about them and can send them in the right direction. And we've targeted some of the toughest kids in the toughest areas that seem to be forgotten, that they think that you can't save them. And so we've gone in to some of these areas and used baseball. And sometimes the kids that we deal with, it's a first introduction to baseball, which is pretty interesting to me. And then you start to build sort of a relationship. One of our great programs that I'm very proud of is called Badges for Baseball, where we train law enforcement in baseball. They then go into the neighborhoods, trade off of their knowledge of baseball to create that relationship with the kids in that area. Like the police officers want to have a good relationship with the neighborhood, and the kids and the people benefit from that relationship back. So it's a fantastic program, and the key to that program is obviously in the quality of the police officers that go in. It's a people-to-people thing, and we've had really good success reaching kids. And we built these ballparks we call youth development ballparks. We built 100 of them now, and we really didn't intend on doing that. We got challenged by we didn't have enough safe places for the kids to do our programming. So we started to look at how else can we help them. And we started to figure out that we could build these safe outdoor classrooms, which is really baseball fields or athletic fields. And we developed a real expertise for it. 1 turned into 2, 2 turned into 10. And we just passed 100. They're synthetic fields. They look great. The community protects them, and it gives the kids an opportunity to do whatever they want. We'd like them to play a little baseball from time to time on there, but we don't care. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
And it gives them an opportunity to search out a direction instead of being pulled in the wrong direction in some of these places.
No.
I was going to ask real quick, Cal, you talk about baseball and kids. How old were you when you first said to yourself, I want to play this game and I really love it? Was it an early age, or did you get a little older, or did it just kind of take its course? Or
As long as I can remember. I mean, my first 14 years of my life, Dad was in the minor leagues. He was managed in the minor leagues. He was the coach of everything. He was the batting coach, the hitting coach, the fielding coach, the catching coach. He ran the whole thing, the managers, that was their job. And so I was able to go to the ballpark with him, probably around the age of 10. He thought it was safe enough for me to put a uniform on and go shag out in the outfield. He wouldn't let me in the infield. And I was around the ballpark a lot. And so I just thought that was the coolest job in the world, a double-A player, going out there and get to play baseball. And I didn't know how much money was there. Obviously, there wasn't a whole lot of money for my dad because he worked 2 or 3 jobs in the off season, to make ends meet. But I just thought it was the perfect job. And it wasn't until I got to about 16 years old, my dad pulled me aside and he said, when we look at potential players, we kind of wait until 16 when they get a chance to look at where their physicality would be, what their potential is. And he goes, I think you have a chance to play professional baseball. And so that was a pretty significant talk. And my full focus from that point on became, I want to be a ball player. I want to do everything I can to be a ball player. I did get drafted out of high school in the 2nd round. Got to the big leagues. I guess I went away to play pro ball at 17, didn't turn 18 till the end of the summer. And which the drinking age was 18 at the time. And I really wanted to be 18. But I got to the big leagues before my 21st birthday, about a month before my 21st birthday. So I would say things worked out pretty good, choosing to go right into professional baseball.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you chose the right path. I'm glad you ditched soccer because that's my understanding you were a soccer player too.
I saw that too. And
Yeah.
on the same question to Admiral Lynch, I know you were a big football player. I know you also boxed, which are the two Irish sports. I think that when the guys growing up they play. But when did you first want to stop playing football, and when did you first box?
Well, actually, early on, we didn't have the Little League football program when I was growing up there in Lima, Ohio, and I went to a small parochial school. And fortunately for me, they did not have football. But fortunately for me, my freshman year, they consolidated 3 parishes for the formed Lima Central Catholic, and they had a football team. And so I played football from my freshman year on. And I just enjoyed, I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed hitting people. I was a linebacker, and I enjoyed that more than anything. And I enjoyed the game, and had, as so many of us who have played in any type of sports, your teammates mean so much. You respect your coach, and you have the joys and the heartache of winning or losing sometimes. And you always will strive to get better and work hard and reach a goal. So that was my football career. And then fortunately, I was spotted by Navy and came to Naval Academy, not sure that I was going to be a Division I player, and turned out very well. And during the off season, I really wanted to be a lacrosse player, but I couldn't get the stick work down. And so I went into boxing just to stay in shape in the off season between the season and spring football. And so I had boxed 3 years in the Naval Academy, enjoyed that as well.
Now, that's an incredible story.
Oh, I was going to say that the $1 million question is, how did these two incredible athletes who grew up to be incredible people first get to meet and begin doing their work with New Day USA? And how did Admiral Lynch and Cal Ripken Jr. first meet?
Let me tell you, first of all, Cal would not remember this, but he and I met when I was superintendent of the Naval Academy, 91 to 94. There's a gentleman by the name of Eli Jacobs who was the owner of the Orioles. Yeah. And we just built Camden Yards. And I just taken over the summer of 91. And normally the plebes get out one night during the summer, and during their plebe summer, that was it. We take them to an Orioles game. So my first major decision, they came up to me and said, the new Camden Yards is sold out for the next 10 years. So we can't go there. So we're going to take the kids. We're going to take the plebes to the zoo this year. The zoo? Come on! And I was feeling my oats. I was a boot admiral, and I said, "Who owns the Orioles?" Well, this guy Eli Jacobs. I said, "Get him on the phone. Give me his number." So I called him, and Eli was the kindest gentleman. He said, "We wouldn't think of not having your plebes there. We'll get some bleachers set up in the right field. You plan on your plebes being at our game." And so from then on, he and I had a great relationship. Sometimes he would call 3 o'clock in the afternoon and say, "Hey, I can't come down. I'm not going to make the game tonight. The suite's yours." And of course, he had a beautiful suite right there beyond home plate. And so one of the receptions, I think it was after the game, or maybe it was the opening day. I can't remember now, but I did have a chance just to say hello to Cal. And then that was back in the early 90s. And then in 2013, we decided to, New Day USA, we'd always been a print media, and we put out like 45 million letters a year to veterans, but talking about our home loans, VA home loans that we can provide for them. And then we decided, hey, let's try this on TV. Well, who are you going to get on TV? And it's almost like Rob Posner, who grew up in Rockville, Maryland, the CEO and the founder. It's almost like he and I looked at one another and said, Cal Ripken. And you wanted a person of integrity, you wanted a person of character, you wanted a person with national reputation. And I had that one meeting with Rob, with Cal, but everything I've known and read and heard about Cal, and everybody's ever known him, is just total respect. And I thought of this interview today, when we were talking about, when back in '95, when he accomplished the 2,632 games consecutively. Just imagine that, how difficult it is to accomplish that. But what did Cal say today? Cal said, unfortunately, he hit a home run both the day before and the day of. And so it wasn't just he said, celebrate in attendance, but you celebrate a victory with your teammates. And, we have a saying in the Navy, shipmate self. Every sailor at sea has got to think, first of all, what effects it's going to, every thought, word, and deed, what effect would this have on my ship? What effects this have on my shipmates? And then I worry about myself. Every great leader that is that way. And that just came out to me very loud and clear when Cal said today, achieving that record was something, but that he got the home run, they won that game. I mean, that's the way Cal Ripken thinks, and that's why everybody loves him and respects him. And when we put him on TV for the first time ever, not wondering what was going to happen, I mean, the phones rang off the hook. So it's been we want to thank Cal for that, because people respect him throughout the world. He's a real hero in so many eyes and so many Americans. And now what he continues doing for the youth of America with the football, his foundation, what he's doing with those football fields throughout the country. And it's really, really remarkable life and really remarkable person. And when I asked him if he would do this show, I didn't know you guys even sponsored for us. I know I met you before doing the show. You're good guys. You asked me if I could possibly, if I knew Cal Ripken. I said I did. I asked him if he'll get on, if he'll come on the show. And here he is today, because that's the type of person he is. So thank you, Cal.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, do you want to be my agent?
Another question.
Anytime, Cal.
We must point out how, again, thankful we are for both of you gentlemen to come on here.
Absolutely.
Admiral Lynch, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're no small shakes yourself there, sir. So we can't literally be more honored to have the two of you on here. It is an incredible day for us three little local guys here who are giggling to ourselves beforehand, like, is Cal Ripken and Admiral Lynch really coming on today, or are we imagining this? And do we get hit in the head on the way in here, and this is all made up? But we cannot thank you enough.
Yeah, and it's funny because, Cal, I'm not sure that the Admiral shared with you what our foundation actually does, so I'll share it with you just real briefly. We are the Step Up America Foundation. And our goal is to educate our youth on the importance of becoming responsible, engaged U.S. citizens. So I don't know if you caught that cute little character of Ben Franklin. Yeah. We take him into the classroom as an avatar, and he teaches all kinds of cool lessons about civics, U.S. history. There's Ben. He just popped up on the screen. And the children interact with him in real time, so Ben can see him. They interact, and once they realize that, oh my God, Ben Franklin on TV is talking to me, he can see what I'm wearing, they go nuts.
Ben Franklin is alive and well.
Yeah, it's a really cool program, and it's just like what you're doing, Cal, with your foundation, just trying to make better kids. That's our focus. We want to grab these kids. As one of our partners, WWE superstar Lacey Evans. I don't know if you follow WWE anymore, Cal, but she's an incredible partner of ours. And we're actually, in 2 weeks up in Beaufort, South Carolina, we're going to do a Step Up Kids Confidence course with WWE superstar Lacey Evans. And then, Cal, Mark's going to beat me over the head because I always ask, whenever we have these cool guests on, I always ask for something. And I'm going to ask, we're going to bring that Step Up Kids Confidence course to Vero Beach. And probably April, I'm guessing, late April. And Lacey Evans, the superstar, this is her hometown. And I hear there's a really cool ballpark that has artificial turf on it that might be like a beautiful setting to hold such an event. I don't know if you know of a ballpark in Vero Beach, maybe?
Cal, let me translate. let me translate and John speak. Can you? John wants to know if he can have a party at your park, and you let him do that. I think that's the easiest way to phrase it.
Fortunately, I have a lot of friends in Vero Beach. That they love that community, and I have spent some time down there. And and yes, there's a beautiful ballpark that we'd love to utilize in a way that would reach out to kids and get kids, more interested in being productive or doing things that they haven't done before. Different exposures. We think that's all great. So, I think we probably could make something happen.
All right, I appreciate it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I have to share this story with you, Cal, and then we'll let you go because I know you two gentlemen are very busy. But Ryan, my nephew, Mountcastle, he sends me a
Yep.
picture the other day, and he's got a set of, I guess, 25 Topps baseball cards that you guys are both signing. And I said, Ryan, you got to give me one. He's like, are you kidding me? I can't give you one of these. I was devastated, though, but it was so cool. So, yeah, you just made my year, Cal. I got to talk to my childhood idol, my son's idol. He's still he wore 8 through college, so it's been a cool show.
Excellent. Now, Cal, I do have one question from my buddy at home, because my buddy Ryan Mulvoy is a big baseball fan, and he wanted to know, who was the toughest pitcher you would go against? Like, did you have somebody, when you played throughout your career, was there any pitchers? This is from my buddy Ryan and a couple of my buddies, but they want to know, was there any one pitcher that I'm sure Cal Ripken Jr. did not fear any pitcher, but that you were like, all right, here we go. This is my nemesis, or whatever you want to call it?
How do I answer that question effectively? There were certain people that I owned when I first came into the league, and there were certain people that gave me problems when I first came in the league. And if you play long enough, the people that you owned figured you out, and the people that owned you, you figured them out. So given enough time, but I will say the year that Pedro Martinez had with the Red Sox that year, he was virtually unhittable. Had the best fastball, best curveball, best changeup. And he was a little ornery at time where he could throw a ball up in here around your chin just for fun. But he had the best pitches, and even if you guessed right, even if you looked for the pitch and you got the pitch that you wanted, it was very difficult to square him up. So all the number ones are truly the number ones. And if you were to be honest with yourself, although you would like the challenge of finding out, how good they are, I would much rather see that Pedro Martinez pitched the day before they came to town, or Randy Johnson would pitch the day before they came to town, and we would skip them by some luck of the draw. But Goose Gossage was terrifying for me.
Wow.
And when I first came in the league, the radar guns were not reading the accurate times. The technology got better where they could read it closer to your hand, but he was still 10 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour above anybody else. And so there was a difference. And he had this crazy windup where when he got his mechanics mixed up, his arm dragged out of the back like a 3/4 thing, and he would miss up and in to righties. And so if he tried to throw the ball harder, the place that he would slip and miss would be right up here around your face. And so I kept thinking, I was uneasy, and yet my left leg could not stop from stepping in the bucket more towards third base when I was doing it. And I remember thinking, you can't hit, if you're thinking about being hit. And so I was bothering me so much. I did overhear Goose Gossage and Tim, what's Tim's last name? Our pitcher on our team was friends of Goose. And so he said, let's go out for a beer and ribs after the game. And I heard where they were going. So I showed up at the place where they went, and they invited me in to sit down. So we ended up closing the bar down, and we ate ribs, and I found out that Goose was one of the nicest guys. And that totally took the edge away. I think I was 4 for my next 5 off of Goose. So the question is, if there's some sort of intimidation factor there, and I use this at the All-Star games too, go up and find out who he is, talk to him, ask him questions. And there are some pitchers that don't want you to talk to them if you're a hitter at the All-Star games, and they'll be more aloof. Roger Clemens was one of those guys that he knew what you were trying to do. But if you once you kind of learn that the person's your kind of guy, or you really start to respect him and you know him, then it gets back to the baseball piece. So I did solve Goose a little bit, but boy, he was terrifying to face at first. The year I faced him was after he pitched in the World Series, and he hit Ron Say in the head, and Ron Say went down. And I remember a close-up shot from the TV cameras, and it looked like Goose was happy that he did it. So I couldn't get that image out of my mind the first couple times I faced him.
Admiral Lynch, same question. It's 1963, and Admiral Lynch is on his 4th year of playing football. He's lining up at linebacker. Was there any team, I know there wouldn't be a player, but was there any team that Navy played that you would have preferred to play somebody else that day?
Well, I can remember the year before when we played USC in the Coliseum, and they were like Alabama is today. and they had the 4 Bs: Brown, Baby, Betzel, I forgot the other one, but they were terrifying, and they were big and they're strong and they were tough, just like Notre Dame was. Notre Dame was always that way with us. We were always so much smaller, but and I remember Mackey when he played for Syracuse. I mean, I was on the film. I mean, it was a draw play, and I went back to my zone, and they gave him the ball coming up the middle, and I hit him full force, knocked him sideways about 2 or 3 feet. I hit the ground in a lump, and he went on for a touchdown. And that was about the toughest guy I played. I mean, it was I remember that hit very, very well.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, it was our honor to have you both on. Admiral Lynch, thank you for what you're doing for our veterans through New Day USA. I can attest to the process and the people because I'm working with them now, and it's an incredible organization. So for all the veterans out there and active duty personnel that are interested in a VA loan, you got to go to New Day USA. And, of course, the Hall of Famer himself, the Iron Man, Cal Ripken. Thank you for making my day, making my year, taking the time to join us. And thank you for giving back to this day and trying to make these kids out there better kids. And we applaud you for that. So.
I appreciate it. I had a good time talking a little baseball. That's all you have now, sitting in the rocking chair thinking about what happened.
Well, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're welcome to come on. We can't thank you enough. Admiral Lynch, thank you so much, A, for getting Cal Ripken for us, and B, once again, always sharing us your incredible stories. We can't, thank you. And also thank you, of course, for your service in the United States Navy. I know as the grandson of a Navy man and a nephew of a Navy man, both who have passed away, but both would be quite pleased to know that I was being able to talk to both you and Cal. My father, who passed away last year, was the biggest baseball fan on earth, and I know he's smiling down.
Yep, great.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the job you're doing, too, with your foundation.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Cal.
We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
gentlemen.
Thanks for everything. You all be safe. God bless. And maybe I'll see you in Sarasota, Cal.
Yeah,
Have a good one,
absolutely.
gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Okay.
again.
There you go.
You didn't do the Ben Franklin quote,
That's
so I will do it.
That's
When
not a-
you're good to others, you're best to yourself.
That's all right.
Goodbye.
Hello, everyone. I am Founding Father.
Sound like that went really well.